This is against the international laws and of course goes against good neighborly relations. This practice in Russia, or so the report says, did not make the citizens of Abkhazia and South Ossetia citizens of Russia, but they are still de jure citizens of Georgia, so the claims by Russians that they helped their own citizens is not true. The report also refers to ethnic cleansing in Georgian villages, but unfortunately it doesn't refer to ethnic cleansing in Abkhazia, which Russia is to blame for ever since the 1990s. And 4 million Georgians have been forced to leave their homes in the area. And Madam President, to conclude, what is the most important reference in the report is that the territorial integrity of Georgia must be guarded and their independence and sovereignty must be guarded. The only question is how to do it. This year we celebrate the fall of the Berlin Wall, 20 years from it. When can we celebrate the time when South Ossetia and Abkhazia are again part of Georgia?
Yes, thank you, Mrs. President. I would also like, as some of my previous speakers have said, really congratulate Mrs. Tagliavini and her team for the report they have been able to deliver, because it made it very clear that both sides have been responsible for the escalation of the conflict and for the conflict that finally took place in August of 2008. It is clear that Russia had been building up military presence in the part of the territory of Georgia. But it is also clear that these provocations had led to a too big reaction by Georgia's President Saakashvili. So I think the importance of saying both sides are responsible and we have to look now how things can develop in the future, that I think has been a very big achievement of this report. I also agree very much with everybody who has said that the territorial integrity of Georgia and of all countries have to be respected. International law has to be respected. But I think it's important also to look into some of the reasons. The aggressive language, xenophobic language, nationalistic language that was part of the build-up of this conflict. And one other thing I would like to mention. What will the EU do now? I mean, we have the monitoring mission, which is important, but it has to have access to all parts of Georgia in order to support displaced persons and others. And I think when we are discussing now, and the member of the Commission has said that maybe to go towards a free trade zone with Georgia, or what we will be discussing in this Parliament, macro-financial assistance for Georgia, I think it is clear that the EU also has to put conditions on Georgia, for example, to reduce the amount of military budget they have. Defence budget in Georgia has been building up over the last years, which then is short for other issues, social issues, civil society, media freedom, etc. I think there the EU has to monitor that very closely. So let me say in one, I think it's important the EU supports the efforts to go down with aggressive language and supports and financial assistance has to be put with conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kavanagh, on behalf of the European Conservative and Reformist Group, for 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, President, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the ECR, as well as the delegation for the cooperation with the Parliament of Georgia that I chair, I welcome the report submitted by the mission. The report is credible. Neither party to the conflict has challenged it. We are closely watching the situation in Georgia, as well as the news concerning the preparation of Georgia's membership of NATO. We unequivocally endorse territorial integrity and sovereignty of Georgia